In this video, we are going to pass the JSON string and display the result in a list view. So whenever user click the pass JSON button, we have to pass the JSON string and display the result in a list view. Go to the XML file. Here is the onClick method for the button. We have to define this method inside main activity.java file. Go to main activity.java. Define that method here. Don't forget to add the view argument for this method. Okay, so here we already get the JSON string inside the async task. If you want to learn about how to get JSON from a remote server using async task, you have to watch that previous video. In that previous video, we already learned about how to get JSON from a remote server using async task. So here we have the data available on the onPostExecute method of the async task. We have the final result available on this variable called result. So we have to get that result. So here we need some variable. So here I'm going to define some string value. Name it as JSON string. And from inside the onPostExecute method, here I am going to save the result into that newly created string variable called a JSON string. JSON string equal to a result. Okay, now we have to display the result using a list view. So we need another activity to display list view. So right click the application and create a new activity. Select the empty activity and name it as display list view and change the layout name into display list view layout and click finish. Now another activity is created with the name display list view. Go to the layout file. Here is a relative layout. We have to add a list view here. Add a new list view. Specify the layout width and height. Specify the width as match parent. Now specify the height. Height as wrap content. Now we need an ID for this list view. Name it as list view. Okay, check the preview. Okay, now we add a list view to the newly created layout file. So now we have to start this activity whenever user click the pass JSON button. Also we have to pass the JSON data to the newly created activity. So inside this method we have to start the new activity with the JSON data. So here we have the JSON data available on this variable called the JSON string. So first we have to check whether some data is available. If JSON string equal to null, in that case first user have to fetch the JSON from the server. So display some toast. First get JSON and specify the length for the toast and make it visible using show method. Otherwise we have to start the newly created activity. So create an intent object. Intent equal to new intent. First is the context. Now specify the class name. Class name is display list view dot class. Now we have to attach the data into the intent object. We have to attach the JSON string into the intent object. So intent dot put extra. First specify the key for the intent object. Name it as JSON data. And finally specify the data, the string value JSON string. Okay, and finally we have to start the activity. Start activity and pass the intent. This will start the activity. So go to the display ListView.java. Here declare some variable string JSON data, JSON string. First we have to get the data from the intent. So JSON string equal to get intent dot get extras dot get string and specify the key name. Here the key name is JSON data. So specify that key JSON data. Okay. Now we have to pass the JSON and display it in a list view. So now we have to create. So here we have to display information such as name, email and mobile number. So we need some list view with some custom adapter and custom layout. So first we have to define a layout for the list view. So create a new layout file. Name it as raw layout and change this one into relative layout and click OK. Now go to the XML file. So first here I am going to change the height of this layout. I change the height into 75 dp. Now add the first text view. Specify the layout width and height and throw it layout height into match parent. Now specify the width. Specify the width as 120 dp. Now specify an ID for the list view. It is name. Name it as tx name. Align this text view to the parent left. Now specify some sample text. Android text. Specify some name. Okay, now we have to align the text at the center of this layout. Android gravity into center horizontal. No need of this one. Center, simply center. Okay, now specify the text as a large one. Android text appearance. Android text appearance large. Okay, now we need another text view to display email. Change the ID into tx email. No need of this one. Instead of to write off plus ID tx name. Okay, now another text view to display the email, mobile number. Change this one into tx mobile to write off tx email. Okay, now we have the custom layout for the list view. Now go to the display ListView.java. So before going to pass the JSON, we need some other Java class. So create another Java class here. Right click the package and create a new Java class. Name it as contacts. Define some variables here. Private string name email, and mobile. Now we have to add some getter and setter method for all these variables. So select the getter and setter methods and select all these variables and click OK. Now we add the getter and setter method for all these variables. Now we need a constructor for this class. So create a constructor, public contacts with some arguments, string name, string email, and the last one is string mobile. Now we have to call the setter method. So this dot set to name and pass the name. Now this dot set email and pass email. Now the last one is mobile. This dot set to mobile and pass the mobile. Now we need some adapter for the list view, custom adapter for the list view. So create another Java class, name it as contact adapter. Contact adapter and extends array adapter. Now here you need to add some constructor. Select the first constructor with a context and a resource argument and click OK. Now we have to add some methods. First one is a method called add. Now specify the get count method. Now specify the get item method. And the last one is get view method. Okay. And here we need some list variable, name it as a list equal to new array list. Okay. Now go back to the display ListView.java file. So now here we have to pass the JSON data. For that, here we need some variables. First one is a JSON object. Create a variable for JSON object. Now we need a variable for JSON array. Name it as JSON array. So first we have to initialize the JSON object. So JSON object equal to new JSON object and pass the JSON string. Here the JSON string is available on this variable called JSON string, and pass that variable. Here we have to add some try catch block, surround with the try catch. Okay. Now declare some variables, int count. Now we have to get each row from the JSON data. Now here we are going to pass the JSON string. So here is the JSON data. Here the array name is server response. So start some loop here. Start a while loop. Here initialize this variable with value 0. Here specify a condition count less than JSON object dot length. So it is not JSON object. Instead of JSON object, we have to use the JSON array. So here I have to initialize the JSON array. So JSON array equal to JSON object dot get JSON array and specify the array name. Here the array name is server response. Copy this one and put it here. This is the JSON array. So here we actually find the length of the JSON array. JSON array dot length. Okay. So here we need another JSON object. Name it as job equal to JSON array dot get JSON object and specify the count. This is the 0th index. So this will return the JSON object on the first index, that means the first row. So now from this one we have to get the needed data. So here we have to declare some variables: string name, email, and mobile. These are the information available on this JSON data. So first we have to get name equal to JSON object dot get string, and that particular key name is, here the key name is name, email, and mobile. So that is name. Now get email, JSON object dot get string, email, and the last one is mobile equal to JSON object dot get string with the key mobile. Okay, now we have to save all this information as an object of this contact class. So create an object of contact class, contacts, specifies it as contacts equal to new contacts, and pass all this information: name, second one is email, and the last one is mobile, and update the value of this variable count. Increment the value of count. Okay, now here we have to create an object of display adapter, list adapter. That means here it is contact adapter. So create an object of contact adapter, name it as contact adapter. So we have to initialize that object. So contact adapter equal to new contact adapter, and pass the context. Now specify the layout name, row layout name, r dot layout dot row layout. Okay, now we have to create an object of list view, name it as list view. Now initialize that variable list view equal to find view by id, r dot id dot list view, and typecast this one into list view. Okay, and finally set the adapter for the list view dot set adapter, and here it is contact adapter, Okay, so here we create an object of contacts and pass all this information as an object of this class called contacts. Now we have to pass all these objects into the adapter. So contact adapter dot add, call the add method and pass each of these objects. Now go back to the contact adapter dot java class. So this is the add method. So remove this override annotation. So here that is an object of contact class. Now I am going to add each of these objects into the list. So list dot add and pass the object. Okay, so from the getCount method, get the size of the list, size. From getItem method, get each object from the list from current position. So list dot get and pass the position. Now here we need another class. It's a static class, static contact holder, static class contact holder, and define some text to view variables here. name it as tx name, tx email, and the last one is tx mobile. Okay, now from the get view method, first create a variable for view. So first we have to check whether the row is existing or not. If the row is not existing, we have to create that row and set the resources. Okay, so view change, for convenience, change this one into row and initialize this variable row equal to convert view. Now make the test if convert view, or simply called row, equal to null. In that case, we have to recreate that row. So first we have to create an object of layout inflator equal to this dot get to context dot get system service context dot layout inflator service, and typecast this one into layout inflator. Now inflate that layout, so row equal to layout inflator dot inflate or dot layout dot the row layout is row layout parent, and final one false. Okay, this will inflate the layout and save that one into row. Now we have to initialize that particular variables on the static class. So here we need an object of that class. So contact holder, name it as contact holder, and initialize that object here. Contact holder equal to new contact holder dot tx name equal to row dot find view by id or dot id dot tx name, and typecast this one into tx name, sorry, text view. Copy this statement, put it here. Contact tx, second one is tx email, and here it is tx email, and the last one is tx mobile, and here it is tx mobile. Okay, and finally set tag on the row dot set tag contact holder. If the row is already available, we have to get that row. In that case, contact holder equal to row dot get tag, and typecast this one into contact holder. Now we have to set the resource for the text views. For that, here we have to create an object of contacts. So contacts equal to, we get each object of contacts from the get item method. So we have to call the get item method. So this dot get item and pass the position, and typecast this one into contacts. Now we have to set the resource for the contact holder. So contact holder dot text name dot set text contacts dot, and now we have to call the getter method. First one is get a name. Now copy this statement, put it here. Second one is tx email, here it is get email, and the last one is tx mobile, here it is get mobile. Okay, and finally return the row. Return that row from here. So now we finish the coding. So this is how we parse a JSON and display that particular information in a list view. Now we can test the application. Okay, before run this application, here we made a simple mistake. So here we set adapter for the list view, but that object is not initialized. So we have to cut this statement and put it after the object initialization. Now this is okay. Now we can run the application. Okay, now the application available on this virtual device. First pass JSON. First we have to get the JSON. So get JSON. Here is the JSON data. Now we are going to pass this JSON data and display it in a list view. So click this button, pass JSON. Here is the output. So we can compare it with the valid JSON data. This is the JSON data. Here is the array name and here is the data.